What is going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar back with GenJag.com, and it is playoff season. The Jaguars finish off the regular season with double-digit wins, finishing at 10-6 and champions of the AFC South. And when you're champion of the AFC South, that means you're going to host a playoff game. And the Jaguars will be hosting a playoff game for the first time since 1999. So before I get into the Bills game, I'll do a Bills preview video in a couple days from now. But right now, I just kind of want to take a look at this team and kind of figure out who are we, like what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, and where do we sit at when it comes to our postseason outlook. So let's get it.
It's a foot race. Robinson and Browner, and it's Robinson who wins it. Touchdown, Jacksonville. His 14th win. Bortles with top, looking deep for Robinson.
So the Jaguars are essentially coming off of a 3-13 record after an abysmal 2016 season. But we brought in Doug Marrone and Tom Coughlin. They really helped change the culture of this team. They really changed this team into a hard-nosed physical football team who wins the games by great defense and having a good run game. And this whole tough mentality really came about in training camp, as we had one of the tougher training camps in the NFL. So tough, we had guys that weren't really into it, like Brandon Albert, basically quit and essentially say that this is too tough for him, and he got his ass out of Jacksonville. Then the Jaguars started off the season kind of up and down. I mean, we started off the season by blowing the wheels off of the Houston Texans in Houston, whooping them, getting 10 sacks and all that kind of stuff, and that really, was the first game where we really realized how good this defense could be. But we went in this weird little funk where we went win-loss, 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 and we had a 3-3 record at one point, and then the Jaguars started winning a lot. Finally started winning at home, and then finally ended off with a 10-6 record and AFC South champions. So regardless of what happens in the postseason, it's been such a great turnaround. It's been actually a fun season to be a Jaguar fan. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about what the Jaguars do well and what they are not so good at. Now the obvious thing is our defense. I mean, we have the best defense in the NFL. There's really not a weak spot on our defense, and we have an elite D-line head by Calais Campbell, 14.5 sacks, probably the greatest free agent acquisition of any team this offseason, and he is very much in contention for Defensive Player of the Year. You also have Yannick Ngakoue, who has 12 sacks. Dante Fowler's done pretty well. The interior of our defensive line is also really, really good. Malik Jackson, Avery Jones, getting Marcel Darius in the middle of the season via trade to the Buffalo Bills really improved our run defense. I mean, our run defense was kind of weak, and then Tom Coughlin, Doug Marrone, and Dave Caldwell kind of saw this and said, hey, we have a chance to upgrade our D-line, and it's been tremendous since bringing him on. I mean, our run game numbers have just improved, and the Bills' run defense numbers have just sank. And what a move it was by the Jaguars to get this guy. You look at the linebackers, Telvin Smith, Miles Jack. Those guys can just cover so much field. The future of the linebacker position when it comes to getting out of that big, kind of thick middle linebacker thing onto more speedy players to be able to keep up with the NFL moving to more and more of a passing game. You have the best duo of cornerbacks in the NFL, A.J. Boye and Jalen Ramsey, both starting in the Pro Bowl as long as we don't go to the Super Bowl. Both these guys have had tremendous seasons, getting all kinds of turnovers. Then you look at the safety position, and this might be the weakest spot on the team, and it's not even that weak. With Deshaun Gibson at free safety, Barry Church at strong safety, those guys just do a really good job of either guarding playing in zones, even blitzing sometimes. It's been just a really good year all around for this defense. Now, this defense is really good at getting pressure. Most sacks in the NFL. For so long, we've been trying to get defenses that can get pressure with 4 people. It's finally here. We can do that, and the cornerbacks and stuff like that only help them out, as being able for A.J. Boye and Jalen Ramsey just to be able to hold on and cover those guys for and have the quarterback hold the ball for half a second longer really allows the D-line to get in there and feast. And, when this defense takes a lead and forces teams to start passing on us, then it's really dangerous because they are throwing against the #1 pass defense in the NFL. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are. Technically, we might not be the #1 defense, but if this defense comes ready and comes prepared and comes wanting to win, they do a lot of damage. I mean, they had down games against Arizona and San Francisco, I think, because they were kind of overlooking them. But, the week after we have losses, we just go out and annihilate opposing quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, after we lost to the Jets, we went out and forced Ben Roethlisberger to throw 5 interceptions. After we lost to the Titans, we go out and beat the Ravens and basically forced Joe Flacco to 39 yards passing, and it was his lowest amount of passing yards he's ever had in his career, and we just absolutely dominated. Now, if there is a weak spot on this defense, it is probably that good quarterbacks that can really read defenses well can do a good job of picking apart the defensive zones of our team. You saw the San Francisco 49er quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo be able to really eat up zones and find the soft spots in the zones, and that's really been our weak spot when it comes to that, or having running backs and tight ends get open, and also just explosive plays. We've had a lot of explosive plays that most of the touchdowns on our team have come because of that. Now, on to some not as good things is the offensive side of the ball. The offense is not nearly as good as the defense, which really stinks. And it goes beyond just Blake Bortles. I mean, a lot of times, I'll come out and kind of defend Blake Bortles. And the reason why I defend him so much is just because every Jaguar fan after a loss just wants to find one person to pin the whole game on and put it on him. And while I will admit Blake Bortles needs to play better in the playoffs to be able to do well, and I will admit that, but he hasn't been the big problem he hasn't been if you all of a sudden insert another quarterback in there, I don't think he all of a sudden solves all the offensive problems. It's because when you look at the wide receivers, after Marquise Lee went down against the Houston Texans, this passing game has not been the same, and that's because the 3 primary receivers have been essentially all rookies, with an undrafted dude, Keelan Cole, 4th-round draft pick, D.D. Westbrook, who missed about 9-10 games this season due to injury, and Jadon Mickens, who has just been, on and out the Raiders practice squad, and it was kind of just a punt return. That's his role. That's what his role in this team is supposed to be, and Allen Hurns, luckily he came back last game, but Bortles is really starting to develop some chemistry with Marquise Lee, and unfortunately him going out really hurt the offense. And obviously our running game has not been very good these last few weeks, and it really stinks because I think by the numbers we still do have the #1 rushing offense in the NFL, but I'm not much of a numbers guy, and the numbers just don't tell the story to our run game lately. I mean, I think of a run game like the #1 rush offense in the NFL being able to basically run it at will, and it just seems like lately, if you want to be that great running team, then you're going to be able to, you might have some runs where they only go for 3, 4, 5 yards, but at any moment you'll be able to break out a 14-yard run, a 17-yard run, a 12-yard run. But it seems like our long runs are going for 7 or 9 yards or something like that. And, that's not what we want to be. Just because, that's not what the blueprint to our team was supposed to be. And, while Leonard Fournette, he's not all that healthy. You can definitely tell out there. Doesn't really have as much wiggle as the beginning of the season. He hasn't been 100%, but I still do think he is a really good running back, and I still do think he can do some damage. However, one thing that is being overlooked is how our running back 2 spot is awful. I mean, it is absolutely horrible. I mean, Chris Ivory. You can't trust Chris Ivory to go in there and be able to hold on to the ball. I mean, last game he was a healthy scratch, for God's sake. TJ Yeldon, he started off the season as a healthy scratch before kind of working his way in. I do like him more than Chris Ivory, but just it is such a huge drop-off from the first running back spot to the second running back spot. You know what I mean? You see teams like, the what is it called? The Lions. Not the Lions, but the Saints. You know what I mean? They had that 1-2 punch with Ingram and Kamara. You know what I mean? You look at the Vikings. You know what I mean? They had the 1-2 punch with Murray and McKinnon. And even before that, they had Dalvin Cook. I mean, just the running back 2 spot is definitely under looked at on this team, and that's one thing that I think may hold us back. But also, obviously, Blake Bortles. You know what I mean? We don't have a super elite quarterback going into the playoffs, and when you look at the statistics, I was seeing somehow like 14 of the last 15 AFC champion quarterbacks have been either Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady, with the one exception of Joe Flacco getting in there. We do have a good enough defense to potentially overcome our offense's, ineptness or whatever you say. But, you know what I mean? It's going to take a lot. You know what I mean? Our defense is going to have to get a lot of scores. The offense is going to have to not turn the ball over. We're gonna have to get some leads, and like the big key to the postseason is to be able to have a positive turnover differential. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be winning games with Blake going out there and throwing like 2-3 interceptions. I believe we are like 1-6 or something like that. If Blake throws like an interception in a game. The numbers definitely don't lie, but to be able to like hide the fact that we do have Blake Bortles, we're going to have some guys make some plays. You know what I mean? Like last game, Westbrook dropping all these passes. You know what I mean? Like, we have to have guys make plays. That comes from the running back position. That comes from the O-line to be able to protect and run block. I think getting Cam Robinson back will be huge just because Josh Wells was horrible against the Titans. And, you know what I mean? If we can run the ball well, get leads, make our defense suffocate the other team, we have a chance to go pretty far. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be saying that the Jaguars don't really have a chance for this, and that reason. You know what I mean? The Jaguars, while they not be the favorite, they are not totally out to win the Super Bowl. I mean, we have a good team. If our offense is clicking, if our pass game is doing well, like I really think we need to start passing on first down more to be able to get the pass game going a little bit, so that'll open up the run a little bit more instead of just, running right into the back of the O-line. But, that's just me. For us to do good, we have to avoid the mental errors, obviously have a positive turnover differential. And, when I say mental errors, I mean after the play where you're basically giving up 15 yards of penalties. We've been susceptible to doing that lately. And, limit big plays. Like I said, last game against the Titans, their one touchdown really came from that Derrick Henry long explosive play on a screen pass. Against Seattle, we let like 2 or 3 long touchdowns go. We can't be doing that. We can't be letting explosive plays up. We have to just keep the game in front of us and be able to control the other offense. Let me know how you guys think the Jaguars will fare in the playoffs. I know I'm going to go into every game like we are going to win. I'm going to be super pumped. I really think that we're good enough to beat any team in the NFL, especially with our defense. Our defense can carry us long ways, and I'm just really pumped to finally be able to see what it really feels like to be in the playoffs, because it's been so long for all of us suffering Jaguar fans. But that ends up my video. This is UCF Jaguar with GenJag.com, and I'm out.